Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw, and I'm here with Scott Nisbet, who is CEO of the Globus family of brands. Now, we've had Scott on before, but this is actually the first time since the crisis began that we've had him on, and they're doing a lot of interesting things at the Globus family of brands for the trade and for the programs they're developing during the coronavirus crisis. So we wanted to talk to Scott about all that and more, and you'll find out about it on Insider Travel Report. Now, Scott, first of all, how are you and where are you? I can see you got all these great posters behind you, a place that you and I want to go to now, right?
I know, James. I know. Good to see you. Yeah, no, so I'm good. Thankfully, my family and I are healthy, and so are all my colleagues here at Globus. So I'm at our office in Littleton, Colorado, and it's honestly a bit quiet these days. We give people the option to work from the office or work from home. So out of the hundreds of employees, only around 20 come into the office. So there is a lot of social distancing going on here.
Well, that's good. That's good. Although I think I could have told you right away what the response to that offer was going to be. Most of us going to work from home, and that comes from someone who's been working from home since 2003. So.
Yeah, they like working from home.
Yeah, I mean, although I was saying, in most cases with us, you're not working from home, you're working virtually somewhere in the world. And that's the best way to do it. Now, in that vein, how have you kind of navigated your company, Globus family of brands, which includes Globus, of course, Cosmos, Avalon, Monograms? How have you navigated through the coronavirus crisis since it began? What have you had to do?
Well, yeah, I mean, we've been through a lot of crises over our 92 years, but nothing like this. Yeah. The crisis started with getting tens of thousands of our guests home, back in March, and these guests were spread across 6 continents, and we raced to get them back before borders closed. I mean, it was an intense couple of weeks, and we even had to charter a 767 to get guests back from Peru.
Wow. So
it's hard to believe it's only been 6 months. It honestly seems like 2 years or something.
Yeah. It's been a tough time now. And granted, of course, for travel companies in general, and obviously for travel advisors in particular, the ones that sell your products almost exclusively, I mean, you get a lot of business through them. How have you been working with them through this crisis? And in particular, what have you been doing to train and educate and compensate them during this time?
Yeah, right after we were kind of scrambling in March, it was then full-time, supporting travel advisors with bookings and questions about letters of credits and refunds and our policies. And now, it's kind of gotten to a groove. And it's interesting in terms of education, which you mentioned, that, there's really been all these webinars going on. And pre-COVID, people were asking the question, are webinars effective? And now I have to say they absolutely are effective. And, our BDMs have done hundreds of these online trainings and product launches and consumer events with record-breaking attendance. And
well, they got nothing else to do. They're sitting at home. They want to watch and learn about something. And that's
I know it's a nice...
I mean, our numbers are through the roof in terms of number of people clicking on our articles and our videos, and that's great. I mean, I'm kind of worried about when we all go back, what it's going to be like, but it's, when we go back to whatever normal we go for. But it's great that they're actually clicking on all your webinars and learning more about the company's, all the different products, right?
No, it's really good. I mean, there's never been bigger interest in river cruising and touring, and agencies are recognizing that these travel styles are, address a lot of the COVID concerns and have high commissions. And so, we've been working with the consortia partners which have been doing a great job on these virtual conferences and panels and Zoom events. And it's really helped us get our message out. And then related to that, in September, we're going to have a series of these virtual events. And we're going to have, each week, there's going to be 3 agency ones and 2 consumer ones where it's open to all advisors, and they can bring their consumers to it. It's nationwide. And I encourage our advisors to look at that. And then in terms of compensation, we've been paying, on these letter of credit bookings, whether it's deposited or paid in full. And we've been providing bonuses, these kind of special bonuses to frontline agents, advisors. And recently we introduced a new program where we pay commission immediately on the deposit and final payment as it comes in. So, I mean, just cash flow is just so critical right now for everyone. And we want to do kind of our part for the travel advisors. And hey, you know, they supported us and we need to support them.
Well, in fact, the first time I heard of this, or maybe I'd heard of it before, was when you appeared at the Signature virtual conference and talked about that. And Alex Sharp, who's the president and CEO of Signature, was really praising you for doing that program. And, it really is. I mean, he took that on to say, you know, look, the way that suppliers pay commissions may be changed because of this, that as we go down the road to see whether, you know, because right now it is a huge cash crunch for travel advisors. It's probably a cash crunch for you too. So you should be praised for doing this at a time when I'm sure, you know, everyone, you know, your company and everyone else is up against it. But that was a great program, and it is one that I think a lot of travel advisors, if they don't know about it yet, they should find out more about it. Yeah,
it's definitely being appreciated for sure. So we launched it in late July, and you know, so any payment, whether it's a deposit or a full payment, will pay commission immediately, weekly, and the program is open to all agency owners. And all that's required is that they sign up for our ACH or electronic payment program.
So they get it right. So they get it right away. And believe me, at this point, and I gather this is probably for commissions for travel that you're selling. Although, you know, we're going to talk about that, is that you've created a bunch of programs that people can start to book now. Indeed, you know, there are a lot of new destinations and tour programs you've actually introduced. I mean, I was looking back, and in the last 2 months alone, you've sort of introduced all your programs for 2021 for like Africa, Asia, South and Central America, Asian, South Pacific, and more. What have you found actually in terms of the international stuff? And we'll talk about the U.S. in a second. But what has resonated in the market for sales for 2021, internationally at least?
Yeah, so mostly it's kind of our exotic destinations that have been launched, as you said, and the biggest news is that all of Globus, all of Cosmos Exotics offer now small group discoveries, so averaging 20 guests per departures. So we've had small group discoveries for Globus, Africa and Asia, but now we have small groups for both brands in South America and Australia, New Zealand, and the rest of the South Pacific. So there's been a lot of excitement about this, and we're seeing bookings come in.
No, that's great. But mostly for 2021, right? Or
yeah, mostly for 21.
Yeah,
not so much 20 anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank God, there's not too much of 20 left.
Yeah.
It's only about three. You know, just another quarter left or so. Now, one of the things you have done is you really have re-emphasized your programs here in North America, and I noted, you know, earlier this year you talked a little bit about you put out a release about your Undiscovered USA programs. What do those programs offer, and what's been the kind of acceptance? I mean, have they resonated with the market as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the destination that's really resonating is North America.
Right.
And actually, it's the only destination we have that's up in 21. It's up 23%. So people wanting to travel closer to home. And so, you know, we've launched a lot of new products, and it's really led by these Undiscovered tours, which has really kind of sparked interest in North America, really helped us. And these are these tours to less crowded, off the beaten path destinations. So we had a lot of success with Undiscovered tours in Italy and Britain and Mediterranean. And now, you know, we're trying in North America, and it's working. And, you know, we actually been planning this for the last 2 years, and it just happens that the timing of this fits perfectly, you know, with our current situation. So there are 9 of them in all, tours like Lost Canyons of the Southwest, and Bourbon, Bridals, and Bluegrass, and Quebec in depth. So 9 in total, and it seems to be working.
No, that's great. And in fact, I think at one point you wanted me to try out the one in Italy, but of course that was supposed to be earlier this year. But it's this whole thing with Undiscovered America really, I think, was fascinating because, at least I don't know about you, but I've traveled a little bit in North America, but most of my travel has gone to other countries, to international. So to find things that you can really find out about your own country was great. And then the other aspect, and you just put out Monograms, just put out, which are small group tours, whole kind of very quick getaways, I don't know, it was 3-4 days to go to some actually popular cities, New Orleans, places like that. And hopefully that's going to resonate as well with the market.
Yeah, so that's available, and that should be a good seller. I mean, we're excited about the potential there, and that's kind of new. We had Monograms North America years and years ago, and we brought it back. We thought this was like kind of the perfect moment to bring that back.
Well, as I said, these kind of niche programs. You also have, religious travel, small group travel, and you said I think these people are looking for tour programs with maybe ones that are smaller groups. To destinations closer to home, and travel advisors can book them for their clients really right now for this year, let alone for next year.
Yeah, we're looking at doing some more small group offerings, as I mentioned, and then you said religious travel. I mean, honestly, that's the most resilient trips and destination that we have. I mean, because it's beyond just a vacation, it has deep meaning to people, and so, it's early yet, with the launch, but we're confident in these programs for sure. Now, and we can even see it in Ibrahimigal, right? In 20, that was moved from 20 to 22.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, people rebooked, they want to go.
Well, as I told you earlier before we started this interview that I was supposed to go this year, and now I'm going in 2022. So we'll see. But those tickets I won from the German National Tourist Office, and I always joked that the actor who played Jesus was there at this lunch in New York, and he pulled my business card out of the hat. So I wrote a column called "Jesus Chooses Me" for the Passion Play. So so I'm still hoping to go.
Well, it sounds like you're definitely going then.
I won't claim to be the most religious guy in the world, but it is a happening. It is kind of 500 years plus now. Staging this play, and it's this is history. You have to go at it, and I'm sure
I went in 2010. I really enjoyed it.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I'll get there in 2022. Now obviously you're seeing all these bookings. Hopefully you're seeing bookings for your tour programs in 2021. Are there certain? You mentioned North America, the U.S. is strong. Are there any other destinations back in Europe, for example, or elsewhere in the world that are looking stronger because maybe people are just, all the so-called pent-up demand and they're ready to go back to Europe next year?
Yeah, so we did see kind of a shift to the U.S., driven by national parks in Western Canada, fall foliage, California. But, with a lot of these people who were suspended from trips in 20 have moved to 21, and 80% of them have just kept what they have. If they were going to Italy, they're going back to Italy, the UK, Spain. So what we're seeing really in Europe is that it's kind of the usual suspects. The destinations that do well are the ones that look like they're doing well in 21.
No, that's great. Well, Italy, obviously, and I know you have a lot of programs there. But he also has a program somewhat similar to the cruise lines in that you offered, kind of future credits to move bookings. So what percentage of bookings did actually move, would you say, to those destinations?
Yeah, so it was, it started at 50% or more than 50% of people taking the letter of credit, future travel credit, and the rest taking a refund. And now, as this kind of has dragged on a bit, it's dropped to more like 30%. But a big chunk of people, because we had a lot of people on the books, that's really going to help 21.
No,
sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you will have some of your inventory was going to be full just from those people rebooking their trips. Now, obviously you have the four big brands, Globus being the biggest, and Cosmos, Monograms being your small group, more intimate, and then of course Avalon Waterways. which one of those brands has really seen the most bookings going into 2021? You mentioned, you mentioned river cruising is really strong, which is logical, but I don't know about the others.
Well, the brand that's up is Avalon. I mean, and it's actually the highest load factor that we've seen since 2016. Mm-hmm. And it's benefiting from, good pre-pandemic numbers. We had a good start, and then all of these rebookings, from 20. And also a lot of interest from ocean cruisers. People are kind of being drawn to that smaller ship experience. And, river cruising has a good story, the small ship from 36 to 166 guests. You're traveling with the same group, adhering to health checks throughout the trip. You're actually traveling through countries in the same room, so you're not even changing hotel rooms. You're dining in the same venues. You're skipping the lines, which makes it easier and now safer. Your feet from shore, so medical assistance is right there if you need it. So there are a lot of benefits with river cruising that people are appreciating.
No, it is a great way to travel, and I've been lucky enough. I stayed overnight during the Virtuoso Symposium a couple years back on one of your ships, and it was wonderful. And of course, the one we all remember is that, which I don't think you offer anymore, sadly, at least for now, was the cruise in Myanmar from the very top of the big river there, and it was such a marvelous experience. And
yeah, it was. I did that one too. Yeah,
it is a gorgeous, and it's a great way to see that country. But clearly, river cruising is something I think a lot of people are going to consider, first. But then I guess the question also is, you are making alterations to your tour programs, emphasizing sort of smaller groups, more closer to home destinations, things like that. How do you think your tour programs will emerge from this crisis and enter what I hate to call this the new normal for the rest of this year and even beyond into 21 and 2022? Is there going to be kind of a fundamental shift in the way in the kind of programs you offer and what you think is going to resonate with the market?
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see, right? We can keep evolving, and we've got some new kind of ideas that we're working on for 22. But, it'll be a little probably more off the beaten path, maybe more nature-based trips, domestic travel growing in importance, small group as an option. So, that's probably a bit of the direction, the authenticity, the more independence probably will be part of it. But, touring like river cruising has got a powerful story, and the number one reason people take a tour is it's easy. Yeah. And now, travel is more difficult, and tours, you can help, maneuver people through the hassles. We know the local guidelines. You don't need to know that. We vet all the hotels and sites and restaurants and coaches. You skip the lines. You got the ground support from the Globus family on every single one of our trips. So, I mean, I think that's, going to still be relevant and important.
Yeah, and also you've had, obviously, like many other tour operators and cruise lines and hotels, institute a whole set of health and safety protocols, on your tours and when people start to go on them, and even now that they're going on them here, as well as on the rivers. I mean, it's a whole different level. I mean, we just did a interview with one of the companies that consults on this stuff, and it was fascinating to hear, what they're recommending. And I mean, it's pretty much a lot of the same stuff. But, everybody's going to have to look at cleaning and on social distancing, on masks and everything else. So you've had to put those in as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, that has been a big push for us, right? Over the last several months is trying to figure all that out. And, what's the CDC saying? What else can we pick up? And, we feel very confident with the protocols we put in place, and, we're ready. I mean, unfortunately, we haven't operated anything yet, but we're ready to go when we do. And we still think there's a chance we can operate in 20. I mean, probably not as many international trips or if any, but we feel like domestically we can operate.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. A lot of people thought that we get back in time for the Christmas cruises on the river cruises, and I'm not sure if you've made that commitment. I keep hearing different things from different operators about whether they're going to offer that. And some people are just saying, oh, well, we're going to wait till, March, which is the traditional start of, the river cruise season for everybody else. I mean, I really, those Christmas cruises are amazing, and I wish we could go on them, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, we're still hopeful. I mean, we're still planning like it's going to happen. So,
But you are running domestic. But the thing is, you are running domestic trips now, or have you started?
We haven't run one yet. Nope, okay. We haven't.
When is the first one you might want to run?
Well, we suspended all of our trips through October right now, and so November would be the first one.
Okay, all right, that's great. Well, it's you got to get ready, and I think people are ready to go now. I mean, it's kind of a strange time. You still have a lot of people who probably don't want to go yet, but there's still that pent-up demand and people who really miss traveling. And if they're not back this year, they're going to be back next year big time.
Yeah, well, like 9/11, right? There'll be early adopters who come back.
Yeah, and people like me who are just crazy for travel. So that's enough.
And yeah, you'll definitely be back.
Now, any other messages you want to get out to our 100,000 travel advisors out there about your Globus and the rest of your brands?
Well, we'd love to talk to you, about how the Globus family of brands can help you recover, help you thrive. And if you haven't worked with us before, please consider adding us to your portfolio. Return on investment is high. Our travel styles address the health and safety concerns that are out there. So, kind of please, look for and join these virtual events that we have coming up in September, and we're going to post it on our travel agent portal. So sign up for as many as you'd like, and, we're here for you. And, so I appreciate this opportunity, James.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us. I would have done it a lot sooner, except I had a little bout with COVID, as you know, before.
I know.
I'm just trying to get back on the horse, as they say, and definitely looking forward to hearing more about what you're doing in the market, and very happy to hear about these very innovative commission programs that are going to help travel advisors now if they book for next year. I think that's an innovative program that a lot of people can take advantage of. But again, happy to hear you and your family are safe, and hopefully we'll see you on the road. Usually we're seeing each other somewhere.
I know.
It's been too long. I mean,
I miss you, James. I miss you.
I miss you too. I mean, we should have been like 2, 3, or 4 conferences by now together. We all complain about that when we're that, but now that they're not.
I'll never complain again.
Never complain again. Anyway, Scott, thank you very much, and great to see you.
Good to see you. Bye.
I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.